Hey, thanks for coming back to the channel. So today is 2 days after the election, the presidential election, and Donald Trump has done an amazing feat, he and his campaign. But that also means that the Democrat Party did a terrible job. This was not so much a win because the Trump campaign was so good. It was uh, 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 like in tennis, where the opposing party they kind of give up points. Well, that's kind of what happened to the Democrat Party. Long story short, Donald Trump is now president. Not only did he run the table, which I forecast, by the way, I forecast that Donald Trump would exceed 300, would exceed 300 in the electoral college, and I also forecast that he would also get the popular vote, which was amazing. I don't know how I came to that, but that was my that was my gut, right? Long story short, he is now the most famous president ever in the history of this country to have done what he has done with all of the stuff that was swirling around him, some good, some bad. Long story short, he's now president of the United States. So what does that mean to us, to me? Well, I'm a pretty much a single issue voter. I'm the Constitution voter. So as long as the whoever sits in the chair of the presidency follows their oath of office, which is to support the Constitution of the United States, not their ego, then I'm going to be pretty okay. Now, there are some people that are afraid of Trump. A couple of things should reduce that concern, including ones that I had before the Chevron decision, before the Supreme Court killed off the Chevron deference, which was the primary tool that anyone sitting in the executive chair in the presidency would use to try to leverage all 400 and some odd agencies to do their bidding. Well, Trump will not have that luxury going into this term because the Supreme Court has killed off Chevron deference. So he can't go and do like he did with the bump stock ban. He can't do that anymore, not without major lawsuit going up his ass. So, of course, he's going to be used to that. Let's talk about what it means with Congress. Uh, Great, really great that the Republican Party now has the Senate. They have the Senate by 2 votes, but that doesn't mean that the Republican Party or even Trump can run the table on anything that he wants to do, because that has to go through Congress. Congress. And as long as the Senate, neither party has 60 votes in the Senate, they're going to have to talk to each other or nothing's going to get done. You're going to have the crazy people down in the House. I don't care whether it's Republican or Democrat in the House. They're going to come up with crazy stuff, and it's going to hit the Senate, if ever. And the Senate will go, yes, no, maybe so, and they'll probably ignore the silliness that might come from the House. Everybody's going to ignore what comes from the White House because that's how it works. The White House cannot control Congress, right? The White House cannot control the Supreme Court until it's time for the president to nominate to a position on the Supreme Court. So what do we have? I don't think there's going to be any changes in the U.S. Supreme Court in my lifetime. I don't have much life left, but in my lifetime. As long as the Senate does not, no party has a 60 vote margin or majority, nothing crazy is going to come out of the Senate. So that's kind of where I am. So there'll be a lot of gnashing of teeth and all that kind of stuff. For you Second Amendment guys like me, there will probably not be any significant pro-gun legislation make it to the president's desk. Why? The filibuster in the Senate. The Democrats will chew their arm off before agreeing with the Republicans on almost anything. So that means if there's a Supreme Court nominee, that's going to be a big fight. If there's any kind of interesting law that comes from the House, if the House is run by the Democrats, it's going to be dead in the water in the Senate. because they're not going to have enough Democrat votes to get it through unless there's a really good politicking and all that kind of stuff. So I'm okay with the result. We'll see. We'll see what actually happens. I think Israel, for example, is resting a bit easier, and the Ukraine, I believe, is resting a bit easier. And I think a lot of the silliness, and unfortunately, was coming from the Republican MAGA people, the Trump Publicans. And by the way, not everyone that voted for Trump is a Trump-publican. There are a lot of independents that voted for Trump. Frankly, that's how he won. He didn't win with just the Republican votes. He won because independents had decided they're tired of the liberal, left-wing, woke bullshit that was going on in this country. They're sick of the craziness going on. They're sick of half the country supporting terrorists in the form of Hamas, right? In Gaza. They're tired of the trans thing. Yes, trans is what messed you up, Democrat. You should have kicked those stupid people to the curb and never include them in the whole rainbow. Trans don't belong in the rainbow. Trans belong in a mental institution. But it was all that energy behind that got independent people, including me, saying, I can't have this. I cannot have an administration that thinks that's okay. That's okay. That is not inclusion. That's, what's the word that people use? It's codependent. It's codependent. Nobody needs the trans vote. There ain't that many of them out there. And the only reason that they're even a figment in somebody's imagination is because the gay community got tired of listening to them whine. So let me come back to what's really going to happen now. Things are going to tamp down. Life is going to go on. You're still going to be able to get your Starbucks. You're still going to get gas in your car, and life will go on. I don't believe that unless some country decides they want to get stupid, I don't believe that U.S. is going to put boots on the ground, war anywhere. I do believe we're going to have wings over the Middle East, and that we're going to help Israel bomb the crap out of the Arabs there, especially the more terroristic groups, and you know who they are. So Trump is going to be president, but that he has no chance, although he might talk bullshit, he has no chance of being a tyrant, a dictator, none of that stuff. And just understand, the president, like all other elected officials and officers that are appointed, swear their allegiance to the Constitution, not the flag of the United States, not the Pledge of Allegiance, not to the president or the presidency. It is to the Constitution. And the instant that Donald Trump decides he wants to start talking bullshit and said, we don't need the Constitution is getting in my way, I can't get what I want. If any of you who voted for him agree with that, then you are walking the country. You are agreeing that you are willing to walk the country down to revolution or civil war. The president must be accountable to the Constitution, not to his own ego. So I'm suggesting to all of you out there, yeah, get excited, go have beers, whatever. But understand, as soon as he or any in his staff decide they want to go against the Constitution of the United States, or he starts to act as, I don't care what he says, is act as if the Constitution is in his way, and he tries to bully departments to do something that is unconstitutional, lawsuits will happen. And I will tell you that if the if the Democrats have the House, then you will guarantee that there will be an impeachment again if he tries that bullshit. I'm just saying. So, what are your thoughts? I know a lot of you, if not all of you, are happy about the result. I just urge you to think now about what that might mean for the country, what that might mean for you, your family, and so forth. So having said that, I gotta go to my day job. As always, thanks for watching, and wherever you can, whenever you can, however you can, carry on.